welcome back to the Network Group podcast. This is our third edition. We're following members and vendors throughout their journey as part of being a Network Group member. So today we're joined by Amit of Netgear. Real interesting story, so I'm looking forward to diving in and asking some questions with Amit. So Amit, if you want to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your journey, I guess.
Certainly. Thanks, Steve. So my name's Amit. I'm the Managing Director of Netgear Limited. We're based out in Gibraltar. Started the business coming up to 23 years ago now, and we've grown from a retailer into supplying hardware to businesses, primarily in Gibraltar, and then grew into the service space. So it's been a journey for us from in different parts of the IT sector, and evolving and changing with time as part of our growth.
When did you become a Network Group member? So you started the business 23 years ago.
Yes.
When did you join?
So
it'll be NGage, right, back then?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It was very much
group.
A buying group back in the day. And funny story that, but I was probably my first event that I'd attended outside Gibraltar, but we were a Toshiba partner back in the day when Toshiba did laptops. And we got invited to one of their events, and I was sat at the head table with the head of Toshiba UK that time, and Philip Morgan on the other side of me.
It's funny how a lot of stories feed back to Phil Morgan.
Yeah, no, Phil's a great character, and got talking to him, and it was actually just before the gala event.
Okay.
And he invited me to that, just a bit of a taster session, come and see what we do. It'd be very interesting for you. Back in the day when it was a buying group, it was all about sort of getting the group deals, and he thought there'd be a benefit. And it was a black tie event. He invited my wife along as well. A number of the partners had come and did a day in Windsor and Spa. Day, so it was good fun for them, and a black tie event, and got to meet a lot of the group members over there. It was still a smaller group. I think it was about 30 or 40 people back then, which was more than a decade ago. And so the group's really changed since then. But I did that one session in Windsor, did the gala event, and signed up straight after.
Did you?
Yeah.
And back then you were you were fully retail focused?
We were retail only focused back then, and we had started in supplying businesses in Gibraltar with hardware.
Okay.
But it was at that time that we started growing that part of the business as well. So it worked quite well for us, being a business that was felt a little bit on their own, not really had a support network, not really had other people, other business owners in the same sector to be able to have a discussion about similar issues and topics, and it was always great coming out. I think I've been the member that's travelled furthest for each event. But it's been worth it. I was actually sat, this flight now to Belfast was via Malaga, and I was sat at, it was a late night flight, and I was sat at dinner with some family that I have over there, and they go, "You've been doing this for a long while, you probably get, is it worth the trip that you make over?" And I went, "I've been doing it for over a decade, and there's got to be value in what I'm doing, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it." And that sense of community and understanding where the industry is, and to be able to do all of that in a 1 or 2 day trip means that you can go back knowing what's happening in the market, what's happening in the industry, where it's moving, what the next thing is, and be able to have conversations and share experiences, issues, and have a very open, transparent environment where you can talk about whatever it is that you're going through or help other members out. And I think that peer learning is very, very important part of the community of Network Group.
And that transition then, so you were fully retail, and just like I guess many members or some members, a lot of us have transitioned from either retail, resell, break fix, and followed that journey right across. Do you find the groups assisted in that journey? Like I know you obviously get a lot of value from the group, but kind of at which, can you remember the key points or where kind of things started to change, the key meetings that you attended?
The group's definitely seen a transition, and a lot of the businesses have had to. I think every business needs to evolve. You can't stay still. You can't be doing the same thing that you were doing 20 years ago. And as part of the growth opportunity, we felt that we needed to evolve. Some of it was market forces. So we had a retail store and we'd have the IT managers of businesses coming in. Can you source this specific specification HP desktop for us? And so it was partly that. It was also having access to sort of good group deals, or even exclusive group deals at the time meant we could, offer our customers an interesting option that on our own we probably would not have been able to do, but together with the group, it brought us as an individual business an offering to our marketplace that was probably bigger than us at the time. So from that point of view, it was sort of beneficial at that time. And then watching the rest of the group transition into the MSP space, and when you can see your peers doing something that generally there's almost a sense that you are not staying ahead of the curve if you're not moving and you're not evolving. And so we thought about it, and we did actually a bit of break fix back in the day, and that's really where we started from. And we had some micro businesses that we were taking care of, but we found that we couldn't break into a larger business and provide them support because there was one or two techs. And to be able to give full support, we needed a team to deliver a service that was always available, and they could depend and trust on us to provide a service. And so we struggled moving from hardware to a service provider. When we started break fix, we thought, how do we become a managed service provider? And we tried various things and realized then that we needed a bigger team. And at that point is when we looked at how we could do that, and the route that we went down was acquisition.
Okay.
Yeah, so we took our two techs, we purchased a MSP. They were a 8-person business, 5 techs, business owner, and there was a marketing and an admin person. But we did an asset purchase agreement rather than a share purchase agreement.
Okay, yeah.
And that team and all of their customers came across into our business. So suddenly, overnight, we had our micro businesses, and then we had a selection of SMB customers, and there was then a journey of integrating the two businesses into one, the different ways of operating, the different cultures, and it took a little while for things to settle and become one team. But that was 2017, and we've still got managed customers that were part of that asset purchase agreement. We did till last month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was, so of the 5 and the business owner, there was a transition plan.
Okay.
No, and then one left last month, but the person that replaced him was previously his manager. That was also part of the original acquisition. He left us 2 years ago and has returned. So yes, there's still someone there, even though he's had a sort of a 2-year gap.
So fast forward to today, then you're managing all the IT across the whole of Gibraltar.
Yes, we've got it fully covered.
Yes. Is the majority of your business now MSP focused? Would you class yourself as primarily an MSP? Have you still got the retail part of the business?
Yeah, so we still have the retail part of the business, and we're still supplying hardware to businesses.
On a resale basis?
Yes, on a resale basis, but the MSP part of the business has grown, and it's now larger than the retail part of the business, and the opportunity that we see going forward is really around the services and the retail. We continue. We've got a good local base of customers that we've been taking care of for many years, and they know us and trust us. So that continues, and really growth is in the services. And we've now got a range of services, so we're not just a pure MSP. We've got 10 different services that we offer businesses.
Okay. And I always go back to this. I always ask you when I see you, how's the lifestyle? I don't know why I always ask you, because I always ask you, and then I know as soon as you answer, I'm going to feel jealous. But tell me what it's like running a business in Gibraltar. The lifestyle's very different. You always kind of tell me how that's one of the main reasons why you're located there. But
so Gibraltar's a unique place. Very small, 6 square kilometres. You can drive around it in about 20 minutes, but there's a lot of
great
activity.
For break fix.
Yeah.
Call outs.
We still do that with the managed print. The tech will get on their moped and sometimes it's even easier to turn up on site than it is to remote in to some customers because they're literally across the door from us. So it's great being in a small place like Gibraltar, but actually Gibraltar's always punched above its weight. There is a lot of business activity happening in Gibraltar. Financial services, it's a big hub for that. Insurance. So there's a statistic that 1 in every 6 cars in the UK is reinsured through an insurer in Gibraltar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's a lot in insurance. There's also, for the last 20 years, Gibraltar has really led the way in the online gaming sector in terms of the regulation that it's provided, and the biggest names in online gaming they're headquartered in Gibraltar, even if their main customer base is in the UK. There's a lot of online gaming in Gibraltar.
And do you get involved with any of the support then? Do you get a sniff of that business, or is that all managed centrally, or do you do?
So we do some of that, and with the specific solutions that we put into the larger businesses in Gibraltar, and it continues to evolve. So right now in Gibraltar, what's happening is there is the DLT, distributed leisure tech that the regulation and the regulator in Gibraltar is really at the forefront of the DLT, and so there's very large crypto companies coming from all over the world to set up in Gibraltar.
You're not making Gibraltar sound too dodgy, to be honest.
No, so
financial services, crypto, gambling.
The good thing with Gibraltar is it's as a small. So Gibraltar used to be considered an offshore jurisdiction. It's very much considered an onshore jurisdiction. It used to be there were certain exempt companies and no tax for those companies in Gibraltar. It's now a low tax jurisdiction. The regulation is very good in very niche markets, and so Gibraltar's been quite quick to adapt itself, whereas larger countries take longer to be able to adapt to emerging technologies and the regulation around it. Gibraltar's been very, very quick and nimble in the regulation, being able to spot opportunities in growing markets. And so, for example, with the online gaming, that's been an activity happening in Gibraltar for over 20 years now. So it's a very well-regulated space, and it's only the best operators that are licensed and regulated in Gibraltar. Right now, we're at that point that maybe we were 20 years ago with the DLT, with the online, now with the DLT, and there's a lot happening in that distributed ledger technology space, when the crypto, stable coin, exchanges, the way payments are made, even fintech companies setting up in Gibraltar because they've got passporting rights, so they can sell into the UK with a Gibraltar license. So it's a very interesting place to be.
Okay. So we cut back to the group then. I always ask, is there any key, we always used to call them golden nuggets.
Yes.
But like key things that you can remember over the X amount of years that you've been a member, where you've taken those away and they've created a big effect on the business, or kind of little things that might stick out to you?
Sure. So I think one of the things that when we were looking at evolving from the retail hardware into the services, the concept of having recurring revenue where on day one of the month you knew what was going to happen that month and it wasn't, you've got to go out and sell something for revenue to come in. It was about building a business, being able to support your clients, having that consistency and certainty. And I think, understanding that concept years ago was what helped transition that business and drove that focus to be able to say, it's not a guessing game. We know what's going to happen. We build stability. We build stability for us, for our clients, for our team. And that meant that we could push forward and drive the business. And so I think understanding that recurring revenue and that enabler that it does of where you don't have to concentrate on selling, rather you concentrate on taking care of your customers and making sure that they get a good service was a key learning moment for us.
Yeah, I'd probably say a similar thing to that in terms of recurring revenue model. We've adopted that in retail now.
Yeah.
So we focus on selling recurring revenue products to retail customers, because the tradition was, like I said, any retail environment, when you're going in and you're making a big purchase, you go in, you buy it, and you might not see that customer for 5 years. It's not that they've had a bad experience, but there's just no reason to come back. So we've definitely taken that model where to be able to bill either on a monthly or a yearly basis, and then that builds stability in the retail space. It just means that if you have a bad month or you have a quiet week, or it doesn't actually affect you that much, you've just got that consistency. I guess kind of the final piece that I wanted to leave you with, and I'm going to pinch this idea from, I went to see Stephen Bartlett at PAX 8 last week. So he did a fantastic talk. And one of his questions that he asked all his people on the podcast is, if you've got a question for me to ask the next person, I don't know, that's a bit of a curveball, so I'll give you a minute to think about it. But if you've got to give me a question that I can ask the next person in the room, what would that question be?
So the burning question, I'll share it with you. So when I started, it was myself and one employee. We've got the business coming up to 30 employees in the business. Okay. And the question now is how we go from 30 to 50 over the next 3 years, and how you as the business owner need to manage the business, because it's very different managing a 1-person team, a 10-person team, a 20-person team, and taking this to be able to grow into a 50-person team requires strong leadership. It requires mentoring, guidance, and so that's our next challenge, and understanding how to continue to drive the business forward, how to do it. We're in a very small market, and so we've got unique challenges where we are, but every business will have their own challenges, but scaling that where you're not the focus, you're not the center. As a smaller business, the business owner is typically the central focus of the business, the superhero within the business. We've got to a point where I'm not the superhero in the business anymore. We've created structure and a team and a senior leadership team and people that understand their business roles, responsibilities, accountability, and now being able to take this further and drive the business over the next few years is really key to what we do and how we do that. And so I think it'd be interesting to understand,
ask about scale.
Concepts.
It's such a key thing. I mean, scaling from I don't think people appreciate how many kind of bumps, and some people do it just so naturally, and it's actually really annoying to watch when you see people that scaled a 10, 20, 30 million pound business and they've got 100 staff, and you're like, wow, it's so difficult getting over these humps. But I'll cut back to that and question it. So thanks very much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed today. Little chat with Amit, and if you're interested in becoming a member, you want to reach out to Amit or myself on LinkedIn, you can drop us a line on LinkedIn or drop us a message. Thanks very much,
be happy to talk to anybody and support them along with their journey if they're considering the network group. I'd definitely say think about it, come out. I think they still offer the sort of taster session, so come and see what it's all about. You might still be here 10 years later.
Probably will.